So welcome everyone. I'm wet too because we had rain about an hour ago. Round 18 of the Formula One World Championship, occupied by George Russell tonight as 110 left and 7 to the right. 60 is pretty dry. The middle sector is still a bit wet. The preferred race tyre, the C4, or will you this evening? 1,600 bulbs around this. Only 18 cars actually on the starting grid. Setup changes, and Alex Albon at Williams will start 18th with Esteban Ocon for Haas. Lance Stroll for the third year in a row here out in Hülkenberg starts alongside Yuki Tsunoda from where he started in Baku 2 weeks ago. As Isaac Hadjar, another rookie here in the top ever in Singapore, starts outside the top place on the grid for consecutive races. Pole here, it's another fourth front row starter. It was Russell ahead of Max Verstappen on the front.
Well, they've all decided to slick tyres, no grooves and nothing to clever, apart from Max Verstappen on go to the end. This has definitely thrown. Never mentioned rain, did they? No. At any point? Dry quite slowly out in the middle of the city.
But that rain has lessened the grip itself, even though it's only 177 metres.
Got there, albeit medium. So, if he can get it off the line on the gripper category you're in, and you can see that then of sweeping around the outside has
at Singapore, and the last 6 we shall find out in 60 on the second row. What is it for Oscar Piastri?
I think if Piastri finished on the gear from a championship perspective.
Pit lane, Ted Kravitz. Good evening, Ted.
Good evening, Croft. Tyres on what? And that is a bit of a statement, isn't it, from the start of his life to fend off Max on now safely in their blankets. Tension is...
And sometimes that could be, but quite clearly, slick, dry.
Stroll and Piastri all had lock-up.
Corner on the laps 2 grid before, and they were finding it very difficult to get round.
He needs to make sure he stays within 10 cars there. So Lewis wants to get on with it.
Teammate Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, mentioned even though he'd written off his chances in the mid 3 points, they are constructors champions on the podium, and if that doesn't happen, 2 that could catch them between now and the checkered flag.
Well, with full tanks of fuel, Anthony was saying, challenge until they understand just where.
Ready for quite some time and waiting. 10 cars lining up.
A lot of cars built, the runners are sitting on the front of the grid.
Yeah, they are. Yourself, ladies and gentlemen, for racing. It's lights out and away we go. And that's into turn 1. Verstappen ahead than a Piastri as he forces Piastri wide. And Lando Norris. Verstappen, great start from Lando Norris. Then comes.
Yeah, great start, very aggressive from Lando Norris.
A brilliant start then for George Russell. Then the Aston Martin, and they're going wheel to wheel out of that. Isaac Hadjar moves up. Now we're getting into the contact. He said, keep an eye on everything.
Side by side through turns 2 and 3. Aggressive. This is a world championship we're talking about.
But every point is precious. George Russell.
And the top left sticking out and
a little bit wrong, but he's managed to carry on in his way, and in a couple of moments we can see it there just sticking out. Change that front wing. Will the FIA decide it needs to?
That wasn't very team-like, but sure.
And Ocon having a real tussle there. Esteban Ocon forward with Lando Norris. He's getting better traction. Broke his front wing.
Absolutely, and then it was with the Red Bull that broke his front wing.
Behrman, who's down in 10th place. Hadjar, 0.7 seconds, the gap between Russell and...
Rules between the 2 McLaren drivers.
We played out yesterday before qualifying. Those papaya are changing. We're not going to shout about it, but little thing way. Norris ahead of Piastri now by nearly 2 seconds.
We're looking at it. Let me get back to you.
Go now. Yeah. On the first few corners and the first lap in general.
All amounts of front wing damage. Lando Norris has been only human nature, I think, is on board with 4 DRS zones on this moves in, and he's using that to good advantage now.
And they don't much front downforce, so completely, so it's one snake. Just spreading the field out. We got 60.
George Russell is thinking 2-stop strategy is the way.
Tires will start struggling around 50.
Still reviewing that incident. We will.
At it, and have decided no further investigation. Alonso has got himself ahead of Isaac Hadjar.
At themselves.
Well, what's your take on it, Martin?
I don't think I called it. That's how I called it at the time. This is a motor race, as I say. The grab that around that particular one. Why that's how we're going racing. It's drivers thereafter.
If I was playing devil's advocate, Lando's return the favour seems fair.
His lead again out front, but George Russell, or anybody else. The problem there.
It is in the Constructors' Championship. It hasn't been champions at the end of this race.
And the other Norris is the faster of the 2.
And let's have a look at the race start, shall we? And Piastri and Norris got a brilliant launch ahead of.
And that's where they had a little touch. Luckily for them. And you could see all of the left-hand side of the grid struggling, looking in his mirrors, because he's got a lot of awareness. Ferrari too, and Yeah, bit of stock car racing.
And on the right-hand side, and watch to the left as well. Has to bail out and go on the runoff area, and that decided. That I think is what Oscar Piastri.
After Norris had collected the back of the Red Bull.
I think, to be fair to Oscar Piastri from the cockpit, by what we've heard, he very much didn't entail of Charles Leclerc.
George has to avoid Verstappen, so we won't take any action during. Oscar will have the opportunity to review together the car by crashing into his teammate, then that's a pretty job.
A full bit of patience with some of what qualifying at Monza, where he's asked to give his championship, or he's done what the team have asked, and now I think he wants a bit of anger in his voice there.
See why he's making the point and why not make the point. And yeah, certainly the right-hand side there, up into P5, that was a lovely start. Racetracks and up there nicely. And full tanks of fuel. Those soft tyres are known as too hot. To give Fonza and Hadjar as well inside the top dozen.
All weekend long, Ted Kravitz, but just track momentarily, and we've still got that where that might be.
We're back running.
Yeah, I haven't been suffering, Crofty. I'm loving these conditions. Between Zach Brown and Andrea Stella, so racer, this is a team of racers, and these discussion that we've had all season between Oscar, one car on the podium to wrap up the constructors. My much Senna and Prost having these kinds of discussions.
Yeah, my understanding that Oscar Piastri, that was Esteban Ocon. You just saw a brief bit of...
The strange thing here is, I think for the first time, they don't run into each other, which they just did. Sporting, and we've never seen that before with the ground rules. But somehow it
should be. But you're right.
It should be.
It's that.
I think I'm a lot quicker.
The one in front might be starting to about 4 seconds back from, because things start to overheat. Very wing element has moved at all, so it can go down at any moment.
Because the other big keep an eye on that in terms of if he pits, critical, isn't it? Which one's in front?
Of 62, 4.5 seconds, chasing down Charles Leclerc and trying to keep at top 10, and Colapinto and Stroll 13th. Esteban Ocon has got a bit of a problem with George Russell extending his advancing those tyres. Anthony, let's head to you at Sky.
The team again complaining about the chicane near the end of the lap and causing maybe this the difference in
curve, as it were. By that means 59.3% of it. And the balance, the remainder, which of course axle, because a car gets a little bit light, easy just to lock the rear axle, but nurse those soft tyres. Very much a free rein out front.
In 2025, and only qualified outside last year for his first points in Singapore. Should have been on
Now shift match. Otherwise we've got... No, it's good.
This season.
Oh, last season.
Yeah, really fine performances. And this, well, unless Norris can get past Verstappen.
That word there to describe how my car was handling. Took off his headset and walked down the back of the garage for the rest of the tell technical information on the
technical ways on a very quite animated as he looks at Evan, but I think there's no further investigation passed since by Fernando Alonso, but it's 4.5 seconds. It's now nearly 6 seconds in the lap on Verstappen's lead over here.
So that just releases George and Oscar absolutely do. The two McLarens, they really need to come up and start
of him, which is Charles Leclerc gaining
like Kimmy's right. We'll see now when we go on board. Does that look? That's an awful feeling, because you need to give it
to try and work out on your the leading rookie driver in this race so far.
Told as well to severely look after the tyres, massive tyre saving, and I feel like he's got a team have been trying to help him with the pace in hand, and it would make sense the way that Russell's
similarities between that racetrack and this, so don't be surprised.
And Fernando Alonso in 8, because there's 7 building a space for the leaders, and it's worth up to 3 seconds fresh tyres and full bands.
Yeah, but that Kimi Antonelli steering rack of Antonelli's car, that's what they were messing around with, actually, the step. Let's just button it up and send him on his way. Is that for Kimi at the hardest race of the year?
Last couple of races for Kimi Antonelli is a very tall and a wing change down at Soleto. Needs a new front wing. It completely falls off. And Lando, he might have glanced the wall and very nearly at turn in the race, along with Sonoda. They are
the hard compound white mark tyre into turn 1. People coming at you from all
control in the Aston Martin, but
pressure sensors and
the wall. Turn 17, yes, it was.
Always looks harder, but I think that's all right. I could see the front tyre scrubbing across
skirmishes that he has survived for Alpine. He was one of those offs on last year, lasted 15 laps. That was the tyre this year. They're more robust. That he will be not going to the finish. It was on the cusp, this, between a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, so a 2-stop is faster, but if you turn.
So on board.
So think about the undercut on Max.
An undercut would be pretty easy. You probably wouldn't want Max Verstappen losing time.
Happened here is Mercedes and Russell have got the reacting to anybody trying to undercut a quarter of the track away from getting ahead. They'll all be seconds then instead of 25, because you're right.
Dropped to about 5 seconds. It is lower than his British teammate Lando's there. Is that tyre managed? Push a little bit. He might have to stop twice. I'll
gone on lift and coast into it. So you lift early, let the aerodynamics, the drags. Pole position was 129. That's the penalty carrying 10 kilograms of fuel element going on. But that is how they're managing out there.
And the blankets. But there was no audio. We had the.
They are the helmet cover all the bases, but the problem is favour here. No, they're not coming out. Yes, they are
behind Alonso and Hadjar, but they're on the. They called him to stay out, but he would get stuck behind the Alonso.
Blatant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Box bars would have done it, but box to over because there's just simply.
They came out with the hard tyres, Martin. So of course, one stop, 26, 27. So if they put Lando on, that's the other reason why they don't really want to stop so early.
Yeah. Why are we stopping now? My tyres feel well telegraphed, that one.
Nobody. So you get that extra pace down the span. Lando Norris, it was just a few hundredths, now nearly 9 seconds clear. Fours and Oscar Piastri put in a 1. Starts to just push that little bit more.
Isn't it? Oscar's been biding his time, probably led a couple of corners, and the lack of get your head down and see what you can do in this race. We sort it out. The raw pace that they have.
On this lap 19, would he be allowed? I want to wait a little bit longer. It's a fascinating dimensions opening up into that.
Only 21 seconds ahead of Fernando. Looks like Red Bull are going to go first.
Stays out. McLaren have done the job on lap 20, and it is Max Verstappen. Lando's job that little bit easier.
Incredible times in, and he does get out. That was the key thing when the race separated into two unity to do that. So incredible pace. They need to deliver it now.
Max Verstappen. That advantage by thinking they're not. The Verstappen had on Norris.
Might only just be ahead of the Aston Martin. We keep an eye out, and he does not go Norris. And we've already got Verstappen far.
It was Norris's fastest lap of the group than Norris on that lap. So it's got me in 5th place, and still that one. Not Liam Lawson, it's Isaac Hadjar who's making.
Verstappen is quite quickly going to and Leclerc if they don't want to pit just this strategy, unless the two Ferrari.
Franco Colapinto and Isaac Hadjar weaving all over the track. Colapinto having to
for a little while to arrest.
Will be if they weren't listening time being and keeping Lando Norris out.
Get lap time, so both laps in succession. 37.0, their target lap time. They've got
their attention. Leclerc is now pitted fourth, and Antonelli very quickly. They've got to keep against Charles Leclerc with fresh tyres.
Charles Leclerc stopped from Ferrari, but I got the feeling they've set between Leclerc and the Sauber.
Past this car. He should breeze past it for Ferrari. Anyway, you say.
I think it's working again. He did race.
To get pace, to get heat, to bring the tyres up gently, they'll be your friend for quite.
It sounds like he's carrying car issues. We know he's carrying. Verstappen then does a new fastest used tyres.
Now we think their rivals, Mercedes, Ferrari, way back into the game here a little bit. They have aware advantage. We'll see.
Red Bull have just made. See what I mean about how quickly he's
last time around. Well, out of the way, Martin. If Piastri
36.7.
Yeah, George has got at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. There's an undercut for Oscar Piastri out.
Yeah.
They say tonight. Ted, down to you.
His previous lap, the last time he's slow out there, Hamilton. I think his tyres are.
Well, they reckon in one lap, Hamilton is going to be. This gap that George Russell was able to build.
Currently, Leclerc is 5 seconds behind. It was pretty low.
Ferrari.
Ooh, that'll be is Kimi Antonelli in the Mercedes.
Their move to try and bring themselves back half seconds. It's a slow pit stop for Lewis.
But I don't think it'll cost Lewis too much.
Because it is going to be ahead of Lewis.
Yeah, that was the key. Get fresher tyres. Piastri's got 5, so he lost 1 over a second of that to protect if they want to keep Norris out there.
Thought that it was a little bit slow. going on. So he's been into the pits. Isaac, tenths of a lap. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, so George have been done a favour by Max Verstappen in the first, quickly followed by Kimi Antonelli. So
Max Verstappen on the track. There's the double stack of Fernando Alonso on the soft tyre.
And the gap to Oscar hit. Let Oscar hit the lap before you.
Heard a yes there.
I thought he said yes. What he said, yeah.
He's not happy to give Oscar a look out for him at the time.
He'll have a 7-lap advantage over Verstappen. Piastri pit first. It's sort of meaning the right time to bring that car in.
So Piastri takes the lead of this race. Verstappen. There goes George Russell down the come out once again behind Max. No air offset. McLaren are hoping will pay dividends.
Yeah, he's got advantage on the tyres as they know. So, game on, and again also.
Okay, what the hell is wrong with this engine again?
Listen carefully, I will tell you this.
In this race, down in 15th, Arts haven't pitted yet. Neither has Alex out laps, but Ted Kravitz is coming into the pit lane.
And Alonso, got to say, well done to the McLaren. Oh my goodness me, not again! They were so wouldn't come off on that stop. How much? What was lose some for McLaren? More problems.
He'll be in terms of track position. Yeah.
Alonso, the wheel gun just won't engage. Alonso, that's just sent him to Liam Lawson. He'll be hoping, behind Isaac just to go back to that McLaren pit stop, Martin, in Monza, and a 5.2 second slow pit stops, and this one affecting Piastri.
Marx is in the middle. By Ollie Behrman on Alex Albon.
Right into 12th place, ahead then of by 4 seconds to Max Verstappen. Lando Norris into third, then there's about a 10-second gap back to Oscar. Kimi Antonelli as we enter the straight.
On the hard compound tyre, just steaming away at the front, but George Antonelli, but he's looking very racy.
Let's just watch his steering wheel, and that issue.
If you speak to me every lap, I will disconnect the race.
From Fernando Alonso, who is not best. I don't want you to tell me anything. Unlike,
I mean, just looking at this, the rear end on the McLarens, particularly Oscar Piastri, reporting before their stops that the tyres felt and that potential undercut. About his tyres, he was asked to go 5. Actually, really saved George as well.
Is that, remember, Max was told outlap and try to gain track position as well.
Kimi Antonelli, by the way, fastest man on the racetrack, his pursuit of Charles Leclerc. He'll be like, yeah, just make a little mistake. Yeah. Charles Leclerc, Antonelli stopped at London, have just slightly fresher rubber, better performance.
Hard to overtake around here, but and they'll get you onto the straight, because if you can point later on, if you're a bit closer into turns, he's old, he's a teenager, isn't it?
Only just of August. Very happy with life currently at the moment. We're the happiest of any driver. Schleifer won the 4-hour NLS. Started as well as he was hoping, but he's certainly not Piastri.
Have been faster than George Russell.
Just picking up on Piastri after that slow stop very lap. I guess the silver lining to Verstappen, and at least at the moment, not in the race, so Oscar will only drop a couple of points.
Nobody has done anything like conditions, so the teams really have no idea. Flags and so many minutes lost.
Their cars quite well, but you're right, they don't know it's a, and it rubbers in a lot. You don't quite.
For a busy night, no. I mean, quite a flag.
Yeah, that was incredible, wasn't it? Not a single
race in the history of the Formula One World Championship and a particular race. Ollie Behrman, Albon, Carlos Sainz is the next ahead of him. Albon hasn't pitted yet, maybe hoping to take advantage.
It was better, and suddenly it's Nari.
Just out of interest. So they've lasted achievement, even though he is lapping in the 139s.
Very parsimonious.
Budget's on. But money! George Russell ahead of Russell here, you know.
He is, isn't he? Yeah, that's 18 to 20 laps. In fact, it's a Sterling.
And, Lawrence is ground hotting up a little bit out in front. Russell field, he's brushing the wall slightly there.
He only hit the throttle.
The wall, yeah. That's a bigger bang than Russell. Norris was also not just a pace advantage behind Max.
And that's a good thing to remind, because you forget of the Red Bull in his mirrors, and he might be on the longer straight, so it's all led before the pit stops.
Yeah, it was quite a competitive finish. Yeah, Charles Leclerc, by the way, has just said he's working hard. on the pit wall to the finish and to get them into the place working a little bit on at the moment.
So what they hope they don't, it kind of destroys the afternoon.
Out of 62, last lap and a half to just Max to get into the DRS and get within a second as well. Carlos Sainz is very much towards this unrelenting head to you.
Nothing Aston Martin can, isn't it, Crofty? Because Stroll behind him, and then Alonso on Hadjar's tail, even on Hadjar with an engine issue.
Something about it here, and there's Ollie Behrman right on
Alonso to catch up. After that, Alonso can now start having a go.
Here's the case. George Russell's ping within a tenth of a second of each other, the top
Time around.
lap 37 now. If you don't mind at this moment, I'll do
I'm going to assume he's locked his front tyres up going in here. Oh, that was a big lock-up. I'm not surprised that.
of Pierre Gasly. That's the battle for last. Staying ahead of Fernando. That's allowed Alonso to get back at him and under brake at the moment.
That's good right. I thought a bit straight, steaming around the outside.
Will McIntyre is going to be really enjoying that. Well, Will Mac 37, he is go, and the motorsport community has sent a lot of love and support back at home. We'll see you down the gym soon. Has cheered Alonso up. He reads himself, doesn't he?
But very far behind. He lost a lot of time in Monaco as well, who are yet to stop.
It's not. Stroll's in the points, but he's got to clear both of them.
Verstappen has been offered to struggle with slowing that Red Bull down.
More. I thought this was just squirrely as he gets the power down there.
A number 11 with his black tyre rear. And look then, as we've got lap, is fast enough, is all right.
Seconds now, Russell, Verstappen. Verstappen has another lap, bring the car to a slow. Oscar Piastri was that gap's 8 seconds, but if it keeps coming down by half,
reaching the track limit line there. So now he's going to have to very much keep it.
Of Carlos Sainz, who's in the pitted, and the Drivers' Championship looks like the point advantage for Oscar Piastri. Reminds you, on the night where McLaren can win the...
Now it's really closing in.
So brake balance.
Engine braking, so that they'll be trying fast, putting to help Max, but the problem with that is, for getting rid of
Lando Norris struggling in the dirty air.
Early, it won't let you pull it down.
Watching on board. He hasn't got it yet, he needs to get another.
George Russell
This is Lando Norris. That was
effect of the turbulent air of a car in front, back end of the car around the corner.
And that in a second quicker than Max Verstappen. So what have you got for us at Sky Race Control?
Oh, well.
But that is Nico Hülkenberg at turn.
He's going the right way. Wasn't sure he was going the right way, but it sounds ridiculous. But
many ways, we're on board now with Hülkenberg.
Suddenly brake a bit harder as well. And
by Hülkenberg's spin, but he's all right. He's on top of the marbles on the outside of the last corner there, for example, your own tyres. So the drivers really have this later stage in the race.
Yeah, those marbles.
Yeah. What tends to happen though is coming through, so often you're having to plough the back markers between him and Verstappen.
3 back markers, then Verstappen and Verstappen. So is Verstappen, or is it the offset on the tyre there and the back markers?
He eventually moved out of the way for Matt. You know, the front car of a
radio. There's all sorts of struggles for Lando Norris to use to get
his front left looks horrible. So if you have to go off lost, that cold rubber sits on the surface
on softer tyres to the end
because anymore, which I think is a great shame personally.
Daniel, his last race in Formula One, getting the fastest. Lando Norris, he would have had a grand slam. And has he got enough straight line speed in that dirty air to keep within corners? Now we get on to the main slap, the back markers, and that's kind of helping
as well by ducking around the gap.
Yeah, he got stuck. The gap just under half a. George Russell is extending his of Fernando Norris to having to plough their way through.
Russell will and Hadjar Tsunoda as well, so they would.
Cars on the track, it's a battle against the elements as well. We're on lap 48. It's a real keep their mind and their body alive at these.
We have 8 cars within 10 seconds. Massive.
You're coming up against those back markers for Lando Norris.
Yeah, Lando's got Red Bull, it's hot air. Ooh, there's a back mark between them finally. Some control issues going on there. I don't see any way that Norris will pass.
Those struggles as he makes his way through, albeit only just. If he can
Oh man, this is so much.
I tell you what, for a man who is normally so calm and so tonight, and he really would just like to go home.
The difference now, of course, is Verstappen is not in. So the two overtaking places, really, but it's turn 7 and turn 6 as a long shot for the World Championship.
Liam Lawson pits Ted Kravitz, the only...
Got a medium tyre to lap 49 from that far back, then that's what you have to do. We've seen him lose his cool. Baku ended up... What rule it was that he feels that must be it, and I'm just wondering how much that looks like at the moment. McLaren are headed for,
didn't they, for the rest of the season between the two McLaren drivers.
Constructors' Championship is done. I did suggest to last that we become more free, which it will be at the end of the next.
He'll catch if he can keep that kind of pace up.
Charles Leclerc for a second race in a row. Lewis Hamilton here tonight. Back to the Sonoda is your race leader, George Russell.
Yeah, George is there, and it's Max's teammate. It's a 4-car pack this time.
This particular part of the track than he is to Max. Might be able to get alongside. Don't forget, he's doing a super job with this defence. He's been goal hanging for that safety car.
Russell is past Tsunoda. He's got Hadjar until the end of the race. Maybe we'll have to just to get these two overtakes done.
Waiting to sign an agreement. They might not have an agreement. Ted was told in the note. Why would Mercedes want to risk George Russell?
They're his managers as well as his employees.
Common sense prevails, and that they get that. And called in, and for me, he's done exactly that. Max Verstappen, after the date where Verstappen felt that Lando's remember this tonight if he can.
On Oscar Piastri, started getting by side going into turn 7.
He would love to be arriving in a couple of laps to under 8 seconds in the last 3. Great overtaking done, currently 8th ahead of Ollie Behrman.
He's close.
Only just, but in the last points to just stay a couple of car lengths closer. Yeah,
fair play.
Absolutely. That was a bit close, wasn't it?
I tell you what, he knows really.
Max so aware. No chance of any collision.
Yes, and you'll see him in the rocket.
Great reply. Back to Verstappen and Norris. We haven't seen it yet, but he has managed behind.
Yeah. So, were they 8th and 9th?
Lance Stroll's got bought, and the gap, couple of tenths on the last.
No, being overtaken. He lost 4 a lap. I don't think so. Yeah, I go over immediately. See if Hamilton.
Verstappen, would you want Lando Norris about 8? It means it makes it more difficult for long anyway.
He might. Carlos Sainz pull that trick, didn't we, by keeping Norris in?
Yeah.
Lee, the sister team. Well, I'm going to assume that means if you get half a chance.
Yeah, season as well.
Yeah.
If comes true. Closing up on the back of his Ferrari, Charles Leclerc. That's switch.
Leclerc lets him through,
and he does because Hamilton can still get.
So what kind of cunning plan? The McLaren.
Well, I'm sure that he'll let both of them by like with the record, and here we go.
And he does that. 16%. Fernando Alonso 15%. Great.
This is some great driving out there tonight. I think. And
6 laps to go, and that's why he dropped off behind Verstappen's laps. But he's certainly got back in the DRS.
Yeah, Max Verstappen certainly helped made George Russell
place. He might just think, do you know what, I've done everything.
I was close to the 9 Formula 1 car. I think I know who would win. If you
Antonelli to Hamilton, half a second. Hamilton on Stroll. All that Verstappen's got on this second place.
Yeah. Piastri's advance. He had that one run, didn't he, down the out.
Pose that question: is it advantageous for Verstappen's advance as well?
Yeah.
Because he's keeping him still at arm's length.
George Russell, but I think he's got an extra bit in.
Grand Prix remaining. McLaren. It's time since that run of 4 championships will consist of when it comes to everyone for another job well done.
It's been a donkey in Qatar, Brazil, Abu Dhabi is even here. That's what I was just going to say. He is. What Lewis Hamilton can do.
Half seconds, give or take, behind.
Lewis Hamilton's been off the track in turn 16, and a lot of that advantage just ebbed away.
Or he might be settling for a 6th place, which is.
So Hamilton had overtaken him, hadn't he? And then he.
But you do. If you've got 10 braking, it's impressive. You're running with no cool air care. Yeah. Things like that happen. You've got to take it. However, for Verstappen and his defence here again, still coming back at these two. There he is.
Yeah. He'll start getting in. So 8.5 seconds covers the top 4. They will be exhausted when they get out of there. He's handled them beautifully.
That replay, we work out what was going on there, but that is
Back behind Leclerc
yeah,
again.
Hamilton is really struggling, and Charles Leclerc, and then we saw that puff of breakdown. See, look, the sparks coming on that front.
Yes.
He certainly has, and then and maybe Charles Leclerc's brakes have gone a little bit as turn 7 through it now. Behind him comes great entertainment from this top 4, Verstappen, and Verstappen might have to settle, like he's going to have to settle for a win that he fully deserves.
Doesn't it? A result this evening, tremendous driving after he'd pitted, but and had 2 brilliant laps, either which would have been on pole.
Winners in 5 years of the Singer for the first time ever here. He'll stand on the podium. That was for him. Max Verstappen, Piastri on the first lap. McLaren 1025 for the second on the road. Then Charles Leclerc, then Lewis might yet get past.
Come on. Thanks, Soso.
You really were. Charles Leclerc has managed. You'll be watching the track here because Fernando was second behind Hamilton. That was a desperate.
We are the World Constructors Championships. We did.
I didn't drink, but we did. There's no the World Championship for McLaren. Beautiful.
Yeah, congratulations indeed at the circuit.